Hi there, it's me, Gamer Tyler here. I'm recapping Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush, Season 1, Episode 28. We're going to watch this episode on DirecTV Stream, where I pay $20 a month for the kids package plan. I get my favorite channels, except two of them, TBS and Freeform. Please subscribe, watch fully, and send donations. Thanks. Let's get started. At Muzma Town, the secretary and Ran glance at this force field as Ran limits its messy person's report, suggesting a filing a missing person's report. Meanwhile, the town's outskirts, Yugioh spots the cat through his thermal scope, just like the first episode. Have you seen that? I haven't watched that one. I just heard about that. Yuma whispers that the target has been identified and declares at the beginning of their operation. And Yui whispers UTS. The cat, now with black and white color, is licking his paws until Yui suddenly bursts from the bushes behind it on his hoverboard, shouting that he's got it. Then screams from that Yuhi descends towards it and flees. When Yuhi hoverboard bounces away, this time Yuhi tells Yurias that it's up to him. The Yurias leaps out and manages to catch the cat. He holds it up, relying UTS. And Odo twins give him a thumbs up. The three return to the two cats to their owner, who thanks them for finding her cats. Yuamu declares that it's another great and peaceful day of work done. He pumps his arms in the air, agreeing that everything is going the normal today in Musaba Town. He agrees that solving cases is what they do. And he replies UTS before reiterating that in order to stop the Great King of Terror, the people of Musaba Town are rushing in the rushed dual universe. Mr. Birchoey is growing meat skewers as Yuhi panics, and none of this is not normal at all. Yuhi asks him what's wrong. Yuhi replies that they're all in space, though Yuamu wonders who could have guessed that the space treasure was a giant spaceship. Purdy assures Yuhi that the gas and water still work fine. Maki agrees that their vegetables still roll nicely, and towns and assures that they will be fine in space for now. But Yuhi scolds the three adults for not taking it seriously before he slumps his head down, wondering what they'll do now. And Yuamu replies that it depends on the Great King of Terror winning one of the skewers. Yuhi then also scared he hasn't already met the King of Terror. Yumi tells them to remember that Raven said, right on cue. Yuhi realizes something, recalling the time when Raven told him that she is expected to battle the Great King of Terror. Udius and Yuhi wonder what kind of person the Great King of Terror is before Toon Bums pops out of the scare them, saying that from beyond the edge of the universe it comes bearing destruction and impetus, whether the boys believe it or not. It is their problem, as he points at the ladder. Thomas explains that the king has destroyed civilization across the universe. Although Udius is confused, Yuhi also doesn't know what it is. But they don't deal with this soon. Get back to the Earth. He's going to lose it out here because they can't rush duel here. Remembering his and Ravan's duel, Udius in his true form, grace as his dual disc, is out and it forms into Vanderversgear and flies off into space, changing its size that merges with the space treasure, and it forms the Vanderversgear. To Yui's surprise, Yumi holds up Yui's dual disc as she claims that if only they could savage and use it. Although Yuhi reveals that the dual disc is velvet gear and nothing else. He laments that he still wants to rush duel. Yui exerts fixing Yumi's dual disc. Yui tells him he did, but so far not good. Yumi suggests they should ask Asuka Musuba, the pilot of Musuba Township. Ubius and Odo twins arrive at the Musuba Tower as Yui confirms that Asuka is at the very top. The trio head from hear familiar voices come from inside the tower. As they enter inside the tower, Yuma uses the letters VVG for Vivigir on the elevator. In the cockpit is replaced with it's a steering icon VVG replaced by a Vivigir icon. Okay, Yui speaks, wondering what the icon is after noticing the captain's desk on the left. Yui tries to get his sister and Yugioh to wait. They ignore him. The three witness the Vivigir's being enslaved in the power source and find the Vivigirians electrocuted. As Yugioh asks them if they're okay, the Vivigirians stutter and complain to him that their job is like hell. Getting no rest. We're also getting no rest. A voice from the intercom yells at the Vivigirians as an engine department that their output has dropped and tells them that their output should be at 200%, but corrects it to 628%. The Vivigirians work faster and utter that Asuka is a demon. Causes the trio to realize that this is in shock. Asuka will do better. At the tower, Asuka piloting the ship with her pigeon, a side pivot flap quill, and pivot fligo flap, claims that they push the rubber gear enough. They can do it. She doesn't know who the demon great king of terror is, but she won't let it step a single foot on Earth. Yugioh and Odo twins arrive, demanding Asuka to know that she has done with the Vivigir. Pitch flaps that scolds them, being noisy as they're in the presence of Asuka. Yui is shocked at that the pigeon can talk, and his sister points that out. It's an alien. Pitch flap describes himself as a chef, strategist, and genius pigeon, also introducing himself. But Yui doesn't care that if Pigeon joins a genius or a pigeon. It demands to let Brigadier go. Saka refuses to explain that Multican has developed by its Musuba heavy machinery and is in the greatest elite town in the present. Everything in Musuba town belongs to her and doesn't have taking orders from anyone. Ray conjures Yui and says something that nice about Asaka is doing whatever she wants to with the space treasure she's been looking for. But Yumu reminds him that the space treasure is too big for her to control. Much his frustration. Yui's frustration is moved. Asaka explains that she gave Imi and Graves some pocket change, and Yumi adds that how Saka brought out the rival companies to and rose to the top of the Chamber of Commerce. Saka adds the trio had much they would like. Petroflop encourages them to say the number, but Yui doesn't want any money and still demands Saka to let Vivigir go. Yugioh cries that Yui's name is excitement as a second challenge Yui to a rush duel since he talked back to her. Yuumu and Yugioh are concerned, while Pitchflap points out that Yui doesn't have his dual disc. While Yui is determined to still rush duel as long as he has his deck. Outside, Terraza and Yugioh have already finished building their battery, which Yugioh names Boiled Bagel. The bakery. Asaka's encounter strolls over the Yui's witness. This is Asaka's dual disc. Asaka explains her dual disc name as Bucket Whale. Experiment prototype prototype 6 EX6 for short, and the weight cracked her hinges and all heavy machinery. Yuri vows to not let her take his dual disc and opens it up to the open box. Second, Yui states that their names and states inserts the decks into their dual disc, referring as the call Go Rush to display the green holographic dome. Asaka declares her turn and draws it after she decides to start the foundation of her hand containing Demolisher Wirearm Roar, Demolisher Soldier Haikanoko, Demolition Soldier Sakan Sasayan, Demolition Soldier Toby Shock, and Destructor Tower of Divine Defense. She summoned Haikanoko, Sakayan-san, and Toby Shock. Yui uses this on top of EX, while Shaka activates the field spell card Destruction Tower of Divine Defense, claiming that if YM types monsters are destroyed by battle, the attacking monster is switched to defense position. Afterward, before setting a card and ending her turn, Yui declares that his turn and draws his card, his hand containing Thunder Spark, Fork Hawk, Cracker Drone, Quip Tura, Join Tech, Ace. He summons Crane Drone, John Tech Ace, and Cyper Doyus, and Yumi pulls out his score flipper. As Yui explains that when Yui doesn't have a dual disc, he must keep track of his own calculations, and Yumu agrees that this is how everyone dueled before their dual discs. Yuhi thanks them, but Yusuka explains that the development of mass manufacture of dual discs is thanks to Musuba heavy machinery, and it wasn't her design. Though before reminding Yui that solid version monsters have a different field, Town's Seed, Tyson, and Tumbas appear on the scene and pose as Yui's three summon monsters. Pretty designed the costumes by the three men, and props for Man Pillow. Special effects by Danko. Background by Maki and Yakitori and Bri Scurry. Johnson tells Asuka that they'll fight on Yuthis at 8. If that is her EX6, Yumi calls it reliable. Yui activates the spell card Crafter Drone, allowing him to send a machine type from his hand to the graveyard to draw a card and tribute Tyson and Tombs, chanting, "Join with heart, join with courage, join with infinite power." To word like never before, I tribute summon John Trex Rex. In reality, he is actually Tumas and Tensu dressed up as John Trex Rex. Osaka giggles as this is Pidgeflap's calls and homemade monster shabby, promoting an offended Yuri to ask her what she is saying, and admits that it's cool as he thinks UTS 8, and Purdue reminds Yuri that they'll keep sewing back there. Yuri returns 3 monsters from his graveyard to his deck, and to use the effect of John Trek Rex, and he can destroy one spell or trap card, activating the back row snipe effect of John Trek Rex. He sets a card and declares battle. John Trek Rex attacks High Kanko, and as Town Speed throws his wrench at it. Aka notes John Trek Ace is switching to his defense mode thanks to the Destructor Tower of Divine Defense. UDS and humorous confusion. John Trek Rex attacks Toby Shock and reduces Asaka's LP to 2,700 before agreeing to defense position as well. He ends his turn. Asaka declares that construction can now begin since the groundwork has been laid out. As she turns her next turn and she draws Destruction Sword Conteria, Sakan, Yasan, Toby Shock, Destructor Worm Baccarat Mutt, and High Hanto. She summons High Hanko, then tributes along with Sankan Yasan to tribute summon chanting forge to melt her steel, rise up from the deep, pulverizing the land, to scorch the skies from the fiery forces of fury. Come out, Destructor Iron Burn Mutt. Destroyer Iron Mutt appears with 2500 attack. Yumi and Yugioh are attacked to discover that Backmut is a low 8 and Saka's ace monster. Saka sends 2 monsters from her hand to the graveyard to activate the quarry explosion effect of Backer Mutt, destroying all of Yuri's monsters, and for each monster destroyed, Yuri inflicts 300 damage to his life points. An effect hits the 3 adults as John, Tech, Rex, and Yui's life point is reduced to 600 as he gasps 600, and Saka declares that Yuri monsters are gone as Yuri notices her activating the equip spell Destructor Sword Conqueria, chanting all buildings and structures built on the very earth belong to me. In the name of Asaka Muzuba, go and supply Mudamut, construct victory, could spell Destructor Sword Conqueria. Equip spell Destructor Sword Conqueria, and Yuri gasps in surprise. Asaka explains that her Bakamut, equipped with Destructor Sword Conqueria, gains attack of 500 to 3,000. And has 5 or more Y types monsters in the graveyard. Batamut gains another 500 to 3,000, 3,500. Yamiya is explaining that Bakamut gains 1,000 attack. Bakamut is about to apply that Bakamut gained 1,000 attack. Bakamut is about to directly attack Yui in Dynamite Destruction, where he activates the trap card Thunder Spark, explaining that the monster attacking loses 500 for each for the rest of this turn. Destructive Asset, and as her monster direct attack, Yui contains, reducing her life points to 400 as she gasps the 3,000 damage. After leaving him unharmed, Tyson relieved that Yui is safe, and Yurius claims that Yuri barely survived with the trap. But Yuri chuckles that she needs to keep holding on for her all. They are helping him. Asaka ends her turn in frustration as Bakamut rises to 3,500. Yuri declares this his turn and draws. John check, Rush, Torn, and Tribute Walk. John Check turns to Toma Karis, and Tomabot. He summons Tomabot and sends it to the graveyard to activate the spell card Toma Gotchans. He sends the cards on his deck to the graveyard, and if they were normal monsters among them, he can choose a normal monster from his graveyard and special summon it. When town scene is distressed, Tomabot Yumi gladly confirms that this and Purdy should be proud of the costume she made. Yuri explains that if the summoned Tomabot of his effect can be special summoned up to 2, Tomabot can form his graveyard as Tyson, and Tumas are dressed as 2 more Tomabot. Yuri attributes 2 more Tomabot to tribute summon Yumu and ETS. UDS fight. Excited to see Yui tribute summon Ruai UTS as Yui chants join with friendship, join with unity, join infinite strength to stop the competition. Join Tech Timosaurus. Join Tech Timosaurus appears of 2,300 attack, and Yui gazes as his new monster, calling it cool, big, and strong, which is just as perfect as Ace Monster Udius wrote. He is dressed as Join Tech. Tyrannosaurus revives UTS as Purdy is very proud of the costume. Yui sends the card from his hand to the graveyard to activate the Megayan pressure, effective Tyrannosaurus switching Bagamut to defense position before losing 2,000 defense until the end of the turn. Eunice Toombs and Tyson cry Megaton. And the defense of Bakamut is reduced to 0. Pitchflap is amazed as Yui activates the equip spell John Check Rush Horn. The attack of Pterosaurus rises by 300, and his attack pierces Pterosaurus' attacks Bakamut with the Rush Horn rocket. And attack pierces the Asaka's life points, reducing to 100. Yui orders Tamabot to finish Asaka off as Town C directly attacks Asaka, reducing her life points to 0 as she is stunned. Town C excuses himself and lands on the ground with a parachute. As sun rises, Yui shares that he won the duel because the UTS-8 powers combined, and UDS is happy to see how a duel could happen without a dual disc. Yui once again demands Asaka to let Verigir go, as she promised, but she refuses because in order to protect Earth, she said Pitchflap have to go full speed head ahead to intercept the great king of the terror. Kawaii informs Asaka that the ship has already reached an escape velocity of 8. And there is now no need. Now there is now a need to accelerate any further. Asaka really agrees to let Verigir go, but she will have them work for her again if they need to accelerate again. Until then, Yui can use it as a dual desk and do whatever much to his delight. Verigir chant Asaka Heaven. Wow, Yuri navigates the Verigir has embarked further into space in order to engage in the great king of terror that is coming towards them. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Help reach 1,000 plus subscribers. Watching the videos fully helps increase the watch hours to 4,000 plus. And send donations to the Patreon page at Anime Tar Space Tunes, starting at $2 a month. Have a blessed day. See you next video visit. Bye for now. Bye.